And welcome everybody to this special presentation that we've put together with myself and my buddy Nelson Brand. I hope you're all doing fantastic today. If you're coming in and your microphones are unmuted, I don't know why, because it was supposed to mute everybody automatically, but make sure you're muted. And here's why, because every once in a while, one of you takes us to the bathroom, and that's just awkward for all of us, and none of us want to experience that. I have some fantastic stories of those things happening, but let's just hope that you are not one of the perpetrators in the future. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jeremy Whaley from Trade Maestro. Many of you here are people that are from my clan, so it's great to be with you. And some of you are people that are friends with Nelson. So I'm going to do a quick little intro here. And we're going to talk about the future of banking and specifically what AI bots are doing in this world of banking. So let me kind of bridge the gap a little bit. For those of you who don't know, I have relaunched my podcast, Think Rich Radio. I started this back in 2019. It died for a while. It didn't really die. Just there's no new episodes for a long time. And then I relaunched it just about a month ago with Nelson. We've put out now about 15 or 16 episodes. And we've got some incredible traction on it. We're tweaking it a little bit. We're going to make this thing a phenomenal record-setting and standard-setting podcast. So if you haven't checked it out, you can find us over at thinkrichradiocom is the website. But on YouTube, you can see all of the episodes. It's YouTube/ThinkRichRadio. So I'm saying that to say this. About 6 weeks ago, and maybe 8 weeks ago, Nelson and I did a presentation just like this. Some of you were here for it. And we shared with you that we were working on some cool new stuff. And we've been working on stuff in the background. We've had some really interesting adventures over the last few weeks. And today we want to share some of that. So that's what we are doing. And that's what you're here for tonight. I think you're going to really get a lot out of it. And Nelson, without any further ado, shall we start our conversation and kind of let people have a live experience of what our podcasts are like?
Let's do it. In fact, folks, my name's Nelson Brand, as Jeremy has already pointed out. Jeremy and I are colleagues on the Think Rich Radio podcast, and we're also good friends, and we're also colleagues on certain projects that we're on, one of which we're going to share with you today. In the past, we've talked about a term called neobanking. And neobanking, and just a summation of that, is a bank that one would have on their cell phone. And ultimately, a neobank would offer all the products that a traditional bank would offer, and then some, the ability to actually profit significantly more, uh, not only because there's no overhead, there's no employees, there's no insurance, there's no business, but also because they're doing some agentic bots. They're doing some generative bots trading, and the bots are able to trade very successfully our monies, certainly, and give us certainly a better return than a traditional savings account or a money market account or a CD or anything like that. So that's what a neobank is in a nutshell. Tonight, our goal is to walk you through the platform and back office of one of these projects, which is called Aurum. And I'll tell you a little more about it as we go along. Jeremy, continue.
Yeah, what I thought we would do here is let's just kind of talk through what the project is. Let's talk through some of the features of it. Both of us have been involved now with Aurum since about, well, you were a little bit before me, but I think it was around first week of February when you introduced it to me and said, hey, Jeremy, you got to check this out. I've been really impressed with it. I'm super excited to share it with people. I've been teasing it and telling people about it for several weeks now. And I'm excited to kind of peel back the onion. So let's just start. I'll just kind of interview you a little bit. You can share. And before I do that, are we having audio issues at all? Every once in a while, your face is freezing, but I haven't had any audio.
Yeah. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to try something. Hold on.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'll interrogate our audience for a brief moment here. We have a great, we got 39 people here, which is fantastic. I'm curious if anybody's here who is already in Aurum. You've already been experiencing it. And if you have, I would love to, get a one sentence, review in the chat. Say, hey, this is what it is. I love it. I hate it. Nelson's crazy. Jeremy's not. I don't know. I mean, whatever you feel like you want to share, this is your opportunity. Anyway, and by the way, Nelson knows that he's anything but crazy. We've become great friends. All right. So Nelson, here's what I want to talk about. You Like I say, you introduced this to me back, I think it was the first week of February. You've gotten really involved with Aurum. You've now met the leadership. You've been to France. This is an extraordinary opportunity. We've talked a lot about the trading side of it. We've talked about just all the different dynamics. What I want to do right now, you kind of give a pre-frame. It's neobanking. I want to talk specifically about their flagship product, which is their XAI bot. And when we talk about when we listen to the CEO, Brian Benson, talk about it, he refers to their products as a yield product. Now, in the United States, the way we think about traditional banking, we can't use that language that way, but that's essentially what it is. So tell us how the XAI bot is working and why people that are listening, might be interested in using that.
Jeremy, we're used to getting a 1% yield in a savings account per year. We walk into a bank and someone there will kindly say, would you like to open a savings account? Our parents, our church, our society, our teachers, everyone told us save. To save is a good thing. The only problem with saving, whether it's in cash or in the bank or even in a CD or money market account, is that the true rate of inflation is so great that right now we have no choice but to put our money into something that's going to outpace the money printing that's occurring. The money printing, by that I mean the true rate of inflation out in our society. And so through this particular company, Aurum, which means gold in Latin, by the way, we're able to park money within it. It's a set it and forget it kind of project where you park your money and you're getting approximately 0.5% per day, which is approximately between 14 to 16% per month, every single month, as it's been doing now for over 3 years. And to be a little more specific about the bots themselves, these particular bots, they're called generative adaptive bots. So they look for market weaknesses. They specifically trade the top, I think it's the top 10 or 12 cryptocurrencies in the marketplace. And they do it across various exchanges. And so beyond arbitrage and sentiment, they look for weaknesses and they solve for a variety of variables. And so they're able to net a return significantly better than the average person. They certainly don't complain. They don't need overtime. They don't need insurance or any kind of perks. And they don't get tired. They go 24/7 on our behalf. So it's really proven for us, for myself, to be an unbelievable project. And I love it.
Yeah, and you said so many things in there that are both the exciting part and kind of the scary part for people like me. I spent 17 years teaching people how to analyze stocks and to place their own trades. And I look at some of the stuff that AI is doing and I'm like, there's no way that I can ever teach somebody to be that consistent. All people have to do is look at the chat here and you can see the people that are all talking about it. I've never met a single person that's lost money with Aurum because it's not designed to do that. The bot it's not every day. It's not the same profit. It fluctuates, but it has been producing now consistent profits. I think every day has been profitable, but it's not the same profit. But it's been doing that now for pushing 4 years. We're actually coming upon the 4-year mark on that, which is extraordinary. So, as we have this conversation about what AI can do and what the XAI bot does, and, just bridging the gap for what I've been doing, it's actually caused a little bit of an existential crisis in my mind. It's like, well, wait, what do I do now as I lead these people? In some cases, people here have been, with me for 8 or 10 years. And to all of you who are listening, here's my approach to it. I'm looking at how we integrate this, how we bridge the gap, and how we pull it into the ecosystem. What I have found is if we go all in one area, we're just exposing ourselves to other risk. But as we diversify, as we put some money to work in the bots and we continue doing some of our discretionary trading on our own, and maybe you still have a financial guy or girl who's, placing some money for you and you're getting real estate, and we diversify across assets, what it does is it creates a much greater stability in our big picture. And so that's what Nelson and I are committed to doing. We're looking for a lot of projects like this. Aurum is one that we've really vetted. We feel really, really good about it. We'll talk about some of the regulatory challenges that all of these projects face here in just a moment. But on the whole, for what we've found with Aurum, this is the best project that I have seen yet to date. It's a consistent producer. It's an unbelievable, in a good sense, unbelievable concept. And it's recruiting, or it's attracting not just institutional money, but institutional level leaders. Let's talk for a minute about the CEO, Brian Benson. You had the opportunity just 3 or 4 weeks ago to go to Paris. You met with all of the top leadership. Brian comes to us, it comes to Aurum from Binance, which is the world's largest crypto exchange. And he's got an incredible track record of taking projects like this that are starting from scratch, completely disruptive fintech, that's financial technology, bringing it to market and taking it to a new level. And that's what they're doing with Aurum. I think you even have some stats about how much money they've got raised from institutions and all that you may want to share.
To date, money under management is over 600 million, and it's growing fast. They figure they'll be at $1 billion in the next couple of months, Jeremy.
That's three.
That's
Let that sink in. I mean, I used to work with a guy who was a fund manager. They were on a 10-year track to try to get to $1 billion. We're already at 60% of that in 3 years. That is pretty incredible.
It is unbelievable. I'll tell you, I didn't get a chance to meet Brian over in Paris, but I did meet the COO, who's a British gentleman, and I apologize, I should know his name and I don't. Brilliant man who actually he's the one who's pushing getting into bots where it's in our own wallet that the bot trades, and we're able to move the principal back and forth as we see fit, and we take the daily profits as well. Unique, and that's where the market's going right now. But that's a bigger thing to talk about. Brian brings trust and a a real solid leadership quality to the enterprise because of his background. He's a North American gentleman. They needed somebody this strong with this many connections, having been in Binance, having brought in 20% of their total sales. Right before he left, he went ahead and he was in charge of the Latin American marketplace, and he really blew it up over there. And so he comes, and it isn't limited to Binance either. My point is that he comes to Aurum as pedigree insofar as the business digital asset space. He's brilliant there. But really, the entire management that Aurum has globally, by the way, they have a global footprint, gives you credence. In this case, I briefly met with the director of marketing, Shane Moland, and he was telling me how he was pretty much retired. He's already been successful, and he's living. Well, I don't want to say what he's living. He's living in Europe. But he was telling me that he came back into this business after he saw the value of some of the things that Aurum is doing. And in this case, if we look at the roadmap of Aurum, last year they went ahead and spoke about this first quarter of 2026, bringing out a bot that would yield more than the existing XAI bot, and also bringing up some kind of RWA project. RWA stands for real world asset. In this case, they introduced the real world asset gold product, as well as another bot, the Nero bot, which gives you a 1% return per day, which doubles what they've already been doing for 3 years. And so they've stuck to the roadmap. They've got unbelievable leadership. They've got a global footprint, and they've got 600 million under management. These are enough things to give me a level of credence that I'm going to say I'm in. Now, really quick, not only is there no guarantee in anything ever, and you and I are not financial advisors, nor are we licensed to give any quality of financial advice. We're here for entertainment purposes, for educational and informational reasons only. But with that said, their validity is so self-evident that I have no choice but to go all in. I love this project, and I'm going to continue to travel the globe and go to their seminars and go to their conferences and so forth.
Yeah, it's an incredible project. Going back to Brian for a brief moment, before he went to Binance, he had a history working in banking itself. So he's the perfect pedigree to bring this combination of crypto, blockchain, and what is really neo banking to the forefront. And it's a really great combination. I'm excited that we found it. I'm excited to be part of it and to be helping to share the message of it. You talked about a couple of things in there that I want to tap into. You talked about a bigger product line. The XAI bot is the one that's kind of their flagship program that's been running now for 4 years, almost 4 years. They got 600 million in management under that bot. But they also have been raising venture capital and institutional money, and they just did another round that I heard Brian announce. They've just raised another $50 million. Now, why is that a big deal? Because if you have institutional money coming into it, then it gives a level of credence and authority that says, okay, this is a major player. We're not looking at a random crypto project that's springing up overnight. It's not a random node project that we're hoping the crypto is worth something. Every one of these programs that they have, we'll call them a product line. Every one of them is trading in USDT. Yeah. If you guys come in, make sure your microphones are muted. I don't know how they're not automatically muting, but yeah. As I was saying, I forgot what I was saying. All of these bots are trading in USDT, which is US dollar equivalent. You don't have to hope that one day the crypto is going to become worth more. It's literally immediately convertible straight over to the US dollars that you're used to. Or in best case scenario, you just stay on the blockchain. So let's talk about the real fast. Let me draw two connections here. We talked about the XAI bot. That's one of their product lines. We talked about, you brought up the new Nero bot. I don't want to go too deep on that, but that is another bot that they have brought to market now that is incredible. It's getting even better returns than the XAI bot. And this real world asset where you actually earn in gold. Now, I'm going to leave that out there as an open loop because we can't go down all those rabbit trails. What I want you to talk about briefly, though, I just kind of shared with people, when you trade with this, whenever you let it run for you, it's all automated. It does the work. All of your earnings are in USDT. You can convert those over to, you can move them over to a Coinbase or a regular exchange, move it into your bank account if you want to. Or guess what, Nelson? They've got the neobanking aspect, which is where they have a debit card. They have their own banking facilitation that is coming in. So we're baby stepping into this, but why don't you tell us a little bit about how we're bridging the gap between the trading piece? Brian has now announced the exchange that they are developing. And now we've got these debit cards where you can literally tap your phone and you can pay with Apple Pay or with your Android, and you pay straight from your Aurum Neo banking account, just like you would your regular banking account, never getting off the blockchain. This is the fulfillment of the promise of blockchain currency. So talk about that, Nelson. Give us some insights.
Before I do that, and hold on to that credit card point, because there's two things I want to mention. One of my big bonuses about Aurum is if someone has Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana sitting idle in a cold storage wallet, they can move it onto the XAI Probot. And if they have USDT or USDC sitting idle somewhere, they can move it onto the Zeus bot. On these two, you'll get a return somewhere between 8 to 10% per month. So it isn't sitting idle, and it'll give you a return. So a lot of us are hodling coins on a cold storage wallet because we're solving for safety, but it's not paying us to live. It should be paying us back. If we put these currencies on these bots, on Aurum, they'll work on our behalf and give us back a return. It'll yield a great return.
Yep.
Before I get into the credit card thing, I wanted to mention, Jeremy, that last year more people bought lottery tickets than ever before. In fact, there was a comparison of lottery ticket buying versus televisions and movie theater tickets, and so forth. Entertainment, in other words. People went galore into lotto tickets, lottery tickets. Right now, gaming, especially sports betting, is off the chain. It's absolutely going crazy. Why? Because people are desperate in an economy that doesn't yield what it used to yield. So they don't know what to do. They don't know where to put their money. All they know is they need to take a chance and take a risk and gamble. And so all I'm saying is don't gamble on the uncertain. Don't gamble on what has been proven. The likelihood of winning a lottery is 1 in a gazillion. We're more likely to be caught up in the eye of a hurricane. Something like this, on the other hand, has been proven for 3 years. And again, there's no guarantees, but so far, so great. So with that said, going back to your question about credit cards, Aurum's gone ahead and provided a tap to pay digital card that's equivalent to the Apple Pay tap to pay card. So in other words, the daily yield that someone makes, you can send it to your Aurum credit card and you can pay the same way you use your Apple Tap to Pay, whether it's for groceries or gasoline or a restaurant or whatever. They do provide you the 16-digit number, the CVC, and the date of expiration. And so you have all that information for anyone that requires just that intel for the auto pay, for insurance and so forth. It's an unbelievable product. And again, these folks are looking to provide the quality of products that a standard bank offers, but it's on your phone. You don't have to go in person into a brick and mortar. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and to be clear, it's not a credit card, it's a debit card. It takes from our funds that we have in the Aurum platform. And so,
Correct.
if you guys decide you want to experiment with that, we can kind of walk you through what that looks like. Here's a really cool thing. Nelson, a lot of people hears about something like this. They say, oh, I don't have the money to get started with that. It's going to be a fortune. I'm broke. Gas is over $4 a gallon. Ribeye steak is $25 a pound. I mean, yeah, $25 a pound, whatever it is. It's a lot of money. Yeah. I love this project and a lot of the ones we're looking at because unlike in the days of old, it does not take a fortune to get started. We can get started in this for $120, and that's $20 annual membership. And that immediately gives you access to the products, all of the products for $20 a year. And you can start with $100 in the XAI bot, and that gets you running, and you can start seeing it work. Or maybe you have $1,000 and you say, you know what, I'm willing to take $1,000 and let's watch this thing work. What you're going to start seeing is you'll start seeing it build. And if you push a little button called reinvest, and it will start to compound. And that's what I've been doing. I started very small back in February. I said, hey, let's I think I put more than $100, but I think it did like maybe $220. And I just let it start compounding. And I'm amazed at how quickly it has started to add up. If a person were to put in this bot, and you can, there's a calculator on their website that will kind of lay this out for you. If you put into the bot about $10,000 and you let it run for 3 years, it turns into over $3 million. That's the power of compounding with this type of a bot and this type of a system. So I'm not saying everybody needs to run out and, grab 10 grand and throw it in here. If you want to, certainly plenty of people have done that. I am saying that the power of what's available with this type of a system and more, there's more that are coming out, but what's available with this type of an infrastructure is unlike anything that society's been able to use before. And I think the timing is essential because what we're seeing is a replacement of the workforce. We're seeing all these things that are changing. People are concerned. Is AI going to replace my job? Is blockchain going to mess up everything? And what I love about it is we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing that there's solutions that make our life easier and better than ever before. What would you like to add to that?
I love that. You know what? There's a real concern that you're right. AI is going to steal everyone's jobs. If we look at the advent of the phone, the iPhone, so many people became photographers immediately after, and they made a really good earning thereafter. The internet, when it was introduced, created a wave of new jobs that are unparalleled. So this agentic moment that we're stepping into allows an average individual or a small group of people to literally compete with multi-million-dollar conglomerates and companies, because now we don't have to know how to code. Now I prompt a bot to prompt another bot to code on my behalf and build whatever I see fit. And depending on the quality of my prompt, I can build whatever I want. So I believe, my friend, that a new technology creates jobs and jobs create wealth. So I believe that a new technology creates wealth. And I also believe that knowledge, information is power, and that also creates wealth. So I think we're on that cusp of what happens next, of a new wave of wealth like we haven't seen before. But there is a lot of sovereignty involved. People are going to have to become entrepreneurs. It is not going to be a go out and get a job kind of world, I believe, as we move forward. Those are my thoughts on that. If you want, my friend, I can start sharing my screen and kind of show them in real time the dashboard in the back office.
Yeah, I would like to do that. Can we do some Q&A while you're starting to get that loaded up, or do you want to show that and then we'll come back and answer some questions?
Well, let's see how fast I can get it up. Let's see. That didn't sound right. Hold on one second.
Chambers wrote in here, and I actually wanted to address this anyway, and I
Okay,
call
why
it
don't you?
the room, and that is the issue that if you right now are on your computer and you go to your browser and you try to search up Aurum Foundation, you're going to get blocked because it's protected behind a VPN. Now, you may have heard President Trump talking about this. He keeps talking about the Clarity Act. We've got to get the Clarity Act passed. Why is that? The reason is because there's not clear regulation in the United States for how this banking is going to work. And more specifically, the traditional banks are fighting it tooth and nail. Why? Because it's going to put them out of business. So, what a lot of these companies, Aurum being one of them, have done very wisely is they've said until the Clarity Act is passed, we're not going to naturally make our product available in the United States. It is 100% an issue of Congress getting all the regulation clogged up. It's like a drain that it's got a big hair wad in it. And so there is a workaround to it. It's not illegal. There's, working with a company like this through a VPN is not a breach of human, what's the word I'm looking for? We're not doing something that's not permitted in the United States. They're behind a VPN for their protection. And that's, again, it's one of the things that Brian Benson and his vast experience has brought to the table, saying, hey, here's how we navigate the weirdness that the US is dragging their feet on. So if you're interested and you want to learn more about it, reach out to myself. I'll put my email in here, or many of you already have my number, or reach out to Nelson, or if maybe you came with a friend, just reach out to your friend. And we'll be happy to walk you through what it takes to get started and how to work within the regulatory framework that we have right now. And so, Chambers, that is my answer to your question. There is absolutely no laws written against us working with Aurum. There's no rules written against us working with Aurum. They have put themselves behind a VPN for their protection because our Congress can't get their little tushies in gear. We need congressional Drano to get it all unclogged. What do you say about that, Nelson?
I completely agree. There's another question here that came up that I just saw. It's from iPhone number 2. And the question is, how does this compare to Bobby's Texit coin? And I'm going to address that right now, my friend. You guys, the crypto space, the artificial intelligence startup space, the digital asset space is by definition a risk asset space because A, it's brand new. B, it's revolutionary insofar as the banks are going to be displaced. The governments aren't entirely happy about it. So it's coming in slowly, and the inevitability is that government and banks will have no choice but to go in this direction. That's just the dollar it doesn't have a lot of life left in it. The banks they can't continue the way they've been going. This debt is just too bananas. So a change is coming no matter whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, it's coming. From all the risk asset projects that exist, and the truth is this, you guys, there are thousands of projects nowadays that have come to market. And 99% of them, I don't want, I don't like, and I don't trust. Neither does Jeremy. So we're only going to go after the ones that we can vet, where we see management, leadership, global footprint, how much money is involved, where do they start, where are they compliant, on and on and on and on and on. It's got to have a list that we can cross out so that the risk to reward ratio is worth it. Insofar as Texacoin and Bobby Gray, I'm just going to briefly say, from what I can see, that project is now getting a lot of introduction of very useful utility layer 2s being built on top of the Texacoin layer 1 rail, which I love and I think is great, and I believe it'll work out. I certainly hope so. I'm still involved in that project as well. But as far as Aurum is concerned, you guys, this is a very different idea. This is a global idea. It'll soon be $1 billion project. And like all things, Jeremy and I would always tell everyone, friends and family and everybody else, put in your money and de-risk. Take out money once a week until you're whole so that suddenly you're playing with house money. And if you do that, none of us lose and none of us can fail. So that's how I'm going to answer that question.
Yeah, I like that. I'll add to that and just say this. Texit Coin and projects like that are harvesting their own coin for future use case. And that is a different corner of the crypto sphere. Aurum is a different dynamic. It's like completely. It's if you're looking at diversifying across stocks, you say, hey, I get into a tech stock, I get into a banking stock, I get into a retail stock. Aurum is a neo banking crypto, but it's not a crypto. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's a crypto project. Everything in Aurum is dealing with USDT. Whereas when you're looking at a project like Texas Coin, and just like Nelson said, I'm also in that, and we're still involved, both of us very heavily. But in those projects, that's a new layer one token. So there's just completely different universes. And I don't know how many Nelsons in together. I think we're in at least 8 or 9 of these together. And we're vetting them. We haven't brought a lot of them to you as a public because we're still vetting a lot of them. And some of them have collapsed on us. Just going to be honest. It happens. But that is, I think it was Vass says, would you call it a calculated risk? Yeah, I guess it's a calculated risk. We look at it and we say, what's the upside potential and how much can I justify putting into it? And if I lost that, I'll be irritated, but it's not the end of the world. And that's kind of my metric for all of it. And then just like Nelson said, get back to house money as quickly as you can. And then you're playing with house funds. Then anything can happen. But so far, Aurum's been amazing.
It really has been, buddy. I went ahead and I opened up my page. If you'll let me share it, I'll get on it.
Can you not share?
Let me try. Hold on one second.
They updated this morning. I realized it was a different interface. I was on a
maybe I can.
No. I have to. Who can share is all participants. They changed everything on me. Let's try it now.
Okay, hold on one second here. More. Here we go.
iPhone 2 says if I come in at $100, the minimum, and I get a guy that puts 10,000 in and a few more 10,000 players, will I capitalize and make significant money or question mark? There is an opportunity. If you guys don't have a lot of capital and you want to find a way to grow that, you can work with me or Nelson, or there's a few other people that are qualified to guide you on this, and we can show you how you can actually use the opportunity of Aurum to build your account even bigger besides even making the deposits. So yeah, we could help you in that pathway.
My friends, so once you're on this project, this is the dashboard page. I'm going to go ahead. Right here, I've got a profit of $119.69. I started this account with $3,400 approximately 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'm going to say 4 weeks ago. And just briefly, Jeremy was saying earlier that all we need is $120 to get in. So in this case, if someone puts in between 100 and 249, they're eligible for 60% of the bot profits, and the company gets 40%. So they're roughly going to be getting 10.5% if they come in with something that small. So the more we come in with, the more we're able to yield. In this case, my money sits between 2,500 and 5,000, so I'm getting 75% of the bot profits, and 25% Aurum is keeping. And that goes on all the way to, should we decide to continue reinvesting, which we can do on a daily basis, and I'll show you that as we move ahead, we're able to keep up to 95% of the bot profits, and 5% Aurum would keep. So if I go downward, now, by the way, I have to point this out, you guys. Aurum has about 7 different ways to pay you as you move ahead. And so, and I'll talk a little more about that, but they give all sorts of graphs and stats, some of which make perfect sense and some of which are paying me way more than I deserve to make. Right here, they have what's called accrual statistics. For this last week, it was $72.24. USDT is a stable coin equivalent of $1. In other words, it's a digital dollar. I didn't know I'd been in a month. I guess I have been, but I'm averaging 391.20 per month at this point. Again, I just got in, my friends. The XAI bot performance, and I'm not gonna drag this on you guys. I'll speed up right now, but the return per month from the XAI bot to date has been, for the month of May, a little over 14%, you guys. If I hit it, that's per month. If I go per day, that sits somewhere from as low as 0.04% to as high as a little over 7%. So there's a medium right there in between. You guys remember, these little bots, sometimes they hit it out of the park on a particular day and they get 7% returns. I'm sorry, 0.07. and other times they get a little better. They get 0.5. So if I scroll down, this is the ability to get on this new quantum alpha non-custodial AI trading bot. This is a different bot than the XAI bot that gives you the 0.5% return per day. This is the one giving us a 1% return per day. If I go further, there's a partner overview. If I decide to tell my friends or tell my neighbors or tell anyone that I want about this opportunity, they would give me a referral fee on that if I chose to go in that direction. Um, they have cruises and they have all kinds of products out here that they reward you with if you decide to participate in some of their various programs. I'm not going to go into any detail regarding the neobanking or the rewards for the gold RWA because I want to move along here on the page. We're going to go on to finance. And on finance, and I apologize, guys, I just moved money on here so I can't impress you with a main balance or anything. If we look here at the ecosystem, having put in $3,400 about a month ago, plus now I'm sitting at 3,888.64. So I've gone ahead and reinvested the difference. From a partner balance, which is anyone below me, I've got a total of 31 cents that I've earned there. Woo-hoo. And if I look at the recent transactions, the auto reinvest is what I've been doing. I just went ahead and reinvested $15.46, and that was on the 28th. My referral reward of 31 cents. I've got an auto reinvest of $17.42. Top up deposit. So I'm earning bot profits and I'm getting referral rewards as well. As you can see, they're here and they're happening every single day. These happened on the 25th. These happened on the 26th, 27th, and then the ones above were at the 28th. Financial proposals. If I go under the XAI bot specifically, this is the one that Jeremy was talking about and myself as well. This is the one that gives a 0.5% return per day and has been doing so for nearly 4 years. Sorry, I'd like to read this to you. Automated crypto trading AI-driven bot that trades crypto 24/7, optimizing strategies for stable returns, full control, withdraw funds anytime, track trading performance in your dashboard, secure and reliable, proven AI algorithm with real-time risk management for consistent results, stable income, earn up to 17.5% monthly with profits credited daily. Please note that the 17.5% up to that means that you've probably got $50,000 or more in your account. That's how it would yield that. I'm going to go down here. Now, this is something that Jeremy mentioned earlier, a profit calculator. So right now, I show on my account, I got $3,888.64. But on this profit calculator, let's pretend that my goal is to bring it up to $10,000. And let's assume that I want to lock that money up. I'm willing to lock it up because what I'd like to do is live off of the return, the daily return that it gives to me. I want this money to work for me. So I'm going to lock it up for 3 years. And in this case, I'm going to live off of it. So I take it back. I'm going to lock in the commission structure, but I'm going to live off the bot profits. After 3 years of holding it in there, and I calculate it, after 3 years, I would earn a profit of $53,550 on top of my original $10,000. However, if I compounded the money and I reinvested the entire 3 years and I recalculate, hold on to your pants, you guys. Yes, you're reading it right. $3,378,040.08. That's when you say no way. That's when you say impossible. I don't believe it. Well, the power of compounding is an incredible thing. That 0.5% return per day, remember, it's $10,000. So on that second day, I'm reinvesting the difference. So it's $10,035. On that third day, it's $10,075. And I continue to reinvest and it continues to grow. Now, if I were to lock it up for 1 year, I'm going to show you the power of compounding. Rather than 3 million, it's at 63,000. If I were to do it for 2 years, it would grow to 461,962 from 61,000. That's an incredible jump. So compounding works best depending on how long we're willing to put it in there. Now, assuming that you want to lock it up for 5 years and assuming that you only want to bring in $1,000 or let's say $100, and you lock it up for 5 years and you let it reinvest on top of itself, that $100 in 5 years will turn into $300,000. It's the power of compounding. It's unbelievable. And remember, those returns, if you want to put them in there, you're solving for a bulk at the end of when you're done reinvesting all that monies. On the other hand, you don't have to do that, because if we move to this little toggle down here, so here's a received income of $391.20. Today I moved $748 from this account onto a private wallet that I have. That's approximately, I'm sorry, it wasn't this account, it was another account. My apologies. This one I have a small amount of monies in. So this one I'm reinvesting all of it. But let's assume that I don't want to reinvest it. I want to take it to my wallet for that particular day or for that particular week. I simply touch this toggle and now I'm not reinvesting, and it goes into my MetaMask wallet, my Trust wallet, or whatever third-party hot wallet that I have, right? In this case, I have a small amount of money in here, so I'm going to let it continue to reinvest. Like I said, I put in 3,400. It's at 3,888. I'm looking forward to this climbing to $10,000. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm shooting for. We're going to go through some of these, my friends. They're not already available, but I just want to show you what comes soon.
Before you move on, can I add some stuff to that page that you were just on, the XAI bot?
Yeah, let me go back to that.
I want to address a question and part of the can of worms that you kind of opened there. You can turn on the compounding every day. You could go in and turn it on to reinvest today, and you could turn it off to reinvest tomorrow. So you can flip the switch as much as you want to. It pays out once a day. So after today's payout, if you wanted to have it not reinvest tomorrow, then you could do that. And the question that iPhone 2 asked, I don't know who iPhone 2 is, but iPhone 2 is officially renamed iPhone 2. The question that he or she asked is, I thought our funds were locked up for a year. That is a true statement from the deposited funds. The deposited funds get locked up for a year, and only in the XAI bot. In the other products, they do not get locked up. Only in the XAI bot do they get locked up. But your profits, you can, if you don't reinvest them, you can withdraw those daily, weekly, however frequently you wish to. So if you would scroll up for me for just a second here, Nelson, I have several people. Actually, the way I found this is I was trying to help a friend who was trying to bridge the gap. He needed an extra $1,500 a month. And I was talking to Nelson about it, and he said, check out what Aurum's doing. I think we could get his gap bridged immediately. He had some money to work with. So my friend put $15,000 in. So go ahead and put $15,000 in the investment amount there. And what you're going to notice with this $15,000, go ahead and hit calculate without compounding. Just let it
for a year,
for 1 year.
For 1 year?
Just for 1 year with no compounding. What you're going to notice is $15,000 will create $26,775. Now, if you were to do some math on that, if you were to get your trusty calculator out, and I'm going to do that over here. You can't see my screen because Nelson's sharing, but 26,775 divided by 12 is giving my friend $2,200 a month. He is happy as a bug in a rug. And what he has started to do is he'll take 1 month and he'll compound it. He'll let it reinvest. In 1 month, he'll take his profits out. And he's using it to pay his son's tuition and some other expenses that he had. But just by taking $15,000, he was going in the hole every month. So that $15,000 would have disappeared in 10 months. Just by taking that 15 grand and putting it in Aurum, and iPhone 2, literally taking the profits out. In his case, he's taking them out once a week. He has now bridged the gap, and he's using it for his daily cash flow expenses. Now, I have somebody else who is currently in the process of funding his bot, and he's putting in $55,000. Go ahead and put $55,000 in there, Nelson. Now, this particular gentleman, he had a decent sum. It doesn't matter his name. Obviously, I wouldn't share that, but I'll tell you the decent sum, which is an average amount that a 57-year-old who's trying to retire but has enough but not quite enough, or or roughly that 150 to 300,000 range that the average baby boomer has. He had in that range, he said, I'm going to take 55,000 of it. And we did the math with the calculator, and that created 109,000 and change per year. Divide that by 12, and what he just created was $9,000 a month. So he's using this. He's in the middle of getting his funds transferred. He's using this to create a income replacement for himself. He had the money to do it. He's just simply looking for the yield. That's what Brian Benson was trying to create with Aurum, right? He said, we want to create a yield type of a product. So your core asset gets locked up, but your profit you can take out if you want to. Now, if this said friend who's going to take his $9,000 a month, if he wanted to start reinvesting some of it, flip the switch there and let it compound for a year, Nelson. And if he were to just, put that same 55 grand in and let it run for a year from now, his bot would have 402,000. Now, let's say he did that. Let's say he let it compound for a year, let it grow to 400,000, put that number in there and flip the compound off. And this is pretty magical, folks. So put 402,000 in the investment amount. Taking his 55,000, letting it compound for a year, not taking any profits, but now hit the magic calculate button, and his $400,000 for as long as this bot continues to produce will give him $801,000 a year without reinvesting an iPhone 2. He can take that out every month, every week, every day if he wants to. He is creating and he's solving for residual income. Now, that's one way that you can think about the Aurum bots. I've been playing with these things in just so many different ways we can use it. If you're starting with $100, if you're starting with 10,000, if you've got 50,000, Nelson and I have been talking to some people who are putting in six figures or more. Nelson specifically connected with some people in Paris that are in the seven figures. You start to understand why they've been able to attract $600 million in assets under management in around 3 years, because this is an extraordinary product and it's unlike anything else that's out there. So that's what I wanted to show, Nelson.
I want to jump in, brother. So this friend of yours who, again, we're going to go back to that $50,000 he put in. And by the way, my friends, I'm not suggesting anyone do 50,000. This is a person can do $500 and do just fine. But for this particular example that Jeremy brought up, someone puts in $50,000 and they reinvest it for one full year, and it'll turn into $402,000. If they reinvest that sum after that, they live off of that sum. And because they're not reinvesting it, and it turns into, on that second year, an additional $802,000 beyond the 402, you guys.
And so he gets the year too, and the next year, and the next year.
Yeah. Now, if we divide that 801,000 by 12 months, that's like $66,000 a month, you guys. And this is someone who started, let's assume, a year earlier with $50,000. So the potential here is unlimited, you guys. And Jeremy brought something up. In Paris, I met some folks, Bolivia, Peru, Uruguay, and some folks from the continent of Africa. And they were very comfortable putting in some sizable amounts of money into Aurum. They'd been around it for a few years. And they kind of made me look in the mirror, and I thought, God, why am I doing this so small? I'm doing this so careful. I'm being too safe. And again, it gave me that credibility, having met people in person who are in this project, who've been in this project for a while, and they've said to me, have you really gone through this calculator? What it could give you is unbelievable. So anyways, friends, there's that calculator. You can only have this calculator once you join. So I apologize. I know people will always ask, hey, I want to play with that calculator. Well, we can make you a calculator with AI, but it's not this one.
I want to address something that Brett Warren brought up. I appreciate you bring this up, Brett. Thank you for saying that. He says the funds are not actually locked, but if you withdraw before a year, there's a 35% fee. It's designed to be like a bond account. However, in around 3 months, you're over 35%. So you would still profit after 3 months if you withdraw all of your funds at that point. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a very, very good point. Your funds are not locked. They are penalized if you withdraw them in less than a year from the initial investment. And anything that you reinvest has that same lock on it. But your profits, you can take those out freely. Thank you, Brett, for clarifying that. And Wendy
Thanks,
also
Brett.
says when you withdraw your money, um, what forms can it come out as still only as USDT? You can take it out as USDT or USDC. And I just saw today they've added Solana. So I don't know if that's going to be, I was surprised to see that as a withdrawal mechanism. So we'll have to see how that works. But they're building out this ecosystem and it's really exciting to be part of it.
Let me go on there. Hey, Wendy, if you don't already have a MetaMask wallet or a Trust wallet, um, I could guide you. Jeremy could guide you through how to get one, and we'll set it up so that you can go ahead and move it to that wallet, and then from there to on exchange or to your bank. Or if you want to proceed with the digital tap to pay debit card, you can transfer your earnings to the card and use it that way if you decide. So those are the options there.
Yeah. We're
Um,
coming into an hour, so some of you I know might need to leave, and if you need to leave, that's totally fine. If you're interested in going to the next step and learning how you can get involved with Aurum, feel free to reach out to me, Jeremy at trademaestro.com. I'll put that in the chat here. Nelson can type his email address in there that he wants you to reach out to him at. You can reach out to him. And what we're going to be doing, because this is a complicated, it's not complicated to use, but there's a lot of features and benefits. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to start doing a lot more of these, and we're going to start a separate YouTube channel in addition to our podcast channel, where we're putting up the trainings on these different features. And so you guys can tap into those and you can let us know what you need training on, and we'll be happy to help you with that. Nelson, go ahead and show what you wanted to share there.
yeah. Actually, I'm going to add on to what you just said. Jeremy's right, you guys. This is a wonderful, and I want you to notice how easy this is to use. This whole dashboard is pretty plain Jane, very obvious, very user friendly. Um, but I want but there is quite a bit here to go through. So I'm going to briefly touch on some things that I think are important. One is the brand new Nero bot, you guys. This one is introduced still during this first quarter. And this is the bot that's giving a 30.61 return per month. That's a 1% return per day. Um, it's unbelievable what it's able to achieve. Now, earlier I said to you that these little bots, I want you to imagine these machines that are working on our behalf. And again, they don't tire, they don't complain. It's a perfect employee, really. This particular bot, I don't know if you could see it on you guys' screen, but it's solving for sentiment, technical patterns, exchange reserves, what's the whale activity of a particular currency on a particular exchange, smart money, liquidity, etc. So it's able to get all these different variables and make bets accordingly. And so that's why it's able to get this level of return that it has. Um, just to know, you guys, again, it's an agent bot. And this one's configured for AI sentiment, as it says, 24 hours 7, non-custodial Web3, right? In this case, it's a DEX, decentralized exchange. But it also serves on your wallet, you guys. In this case, I went ahead and backed it up on my MetaMask wallet for this Nero bot. It tells you what to do and how to do it, but it's something that once you join the XAI bot, which is the first way to get into here, with a few $100 or $1,000 or whatever you decide, you can then move forward and open this Nero bot Quantum Alpha. Here, I'm not going to go through some of these.
There, Nelson, I think what I just understood you say, in order to use the Nero bot, you must first have an XAI bot running. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's how you begin. Yes.
And I think all of the programs are that way because to use XAI Pro, I had to have XAI loaded up first. I think to use the Zeus bot, all their different products, the main product is the one you have to start with. And does it cap? Can we put more in Nero than we have in XAI, or is there does it
Yes.
not matter?
I didn't want to go there, but just briefly. The XAI Pro and the Zeus require the same amount you have in your XAI bot original.
Okay.
The Nero bot doesn't have any of those restrictions whatsoever.
Okay. That's
So,
cool.
but that I didn't want to go there. You guys, if you didn't understand that, we'll talk about it later as we go through this dashboard on another Zoom. I wanted to touch on just a few things here, you guys. The Aurum token is going to come to a live market soon. It hasn't yet. They're going to give us the chance to license. License, you guys, in a bank like this means that we're going to be able to let others borrow our currency, and we'll be able to make some money off of it and get individual licenses for that. They're going to have their own wallet. It's a Polygon wallet. They're also going to have a staking capacity. So besides the Pro, the XAI Pro bot that I mentioned earlier, where a person can move their idle currencies, be it BTC, ETH, Solana, whatever it is, up onto the XAI Pro, beyond that, there's also going to be a staking opportunity here with us. There's also going to be flash loans, which again is going to be loaning out our currency, you guys. I'm going to go to RWA just real quick here. This is one of their newest, proudest projects. The expected annual return is 63 to 78%. Once a person puts money into this particular bot, a person's eligible, depending on how much they put in and what they've achieved, up to 30% savings on gold spot. This is for a 12-month period that you'd lock it up for. The folks that I met from South Africa, you guys, were absolutely stoked about this RWA Gold program. In fact, I felt embarrassed because I thought, I really don't know much about it. And they were solving for wealth created by weight. They judged their wealth based on how much gold they owned. And that doesn't mean they didn't eventually transition into real estate and other businesses from the gold, but they primarily saved in gold. They didn't save in the paper fiat notes. So here they have several projects. The starter one starts with $50, and then they go up to the $150 one. And there's packages that continue to move on. As you can see, you guys, Aurum is certainly, they'll take big money, but they've made it for everyone. This is real equity for everyone. Again, to start is $120. It's a $20 membership fee and $100 that the bots would then trade. And then once you've done that, you can participate in the RWA program or the Nero program or some of the other products that they're bringing to market. Here they give you an example of the return of a starter package for $100. So I'm not in that now, but I will be very soon. Just briefly, I'm going to go to materials. There's a lot here, you guys. So under the materials section, if I go under video materials, I can see that in every language, not every, guys, it's like 26 languages, there's an introduction to Aurum in multiple languages. If I go under educational materials, same thing. Educational materials on how to step by step, how to take your money out, how to withdraw, how to go from bank to Aurum, and then of course presentations on Aurum. So it's all there. It's all available for you to learn from and for you to share if you decide to do so. Jeremy, any other questions on here?
I don't think so. I appreciate Brett Warren sharing his screenshot of his own profits. Brett, I did not know Brett was in Aurum. I'm thrilled that he is. And it's nice to have your contributions there, Brett. I appreciate that. But he's showing here the Nero bot and his own profits. He's made $148. He started with 500 a month ago, and he's made $148 in a month. And I love what you said there, Nelson. This is a great product for people who want to start small and for people who want to be big. Like anybody in the middle, wherever you are, if you want to start with $100, you can start with $100. If you want to start with 1,000, you can start with 1,000. You want to start with 10,000. You want to go big, you can go big. You want to stay small, stay small. And you can add to it. Somebody asked, can we add to it? The answer is yes. You can absolutely top up your account. If you do that, there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. One way will earn you faster, and I'll show you how to do that if you need help with that. But you can add to it at any time. You can withdraw. It's just an incredible offer. And what I really love about it is we are experiencing finally in 2026 the promise of cryptocurrency. What they promised us with Bitcoin, that it would transform the world, we're experiencing it. This is the beginning of quantum banking. Some of you have heard that term, quantum banking or quantum finance. This is the beginning of that. This particular algorithm and AI has been running, like Nelson said, a little more than 3 years, coming upon 4 years. And guys, this is the future. We named this, what I forgot what we called it, but what AI is doing for banking and neo banking moving forward, something like that. This is it, and it's super exciting, and I'm excited about it. I know you are, Nelson. I want to encourage people to listen to our podcast if they haven't done so. What else you want to add to this?
I'm adding right now everything on this thread right now. You guys, this is huge. We're super proud and super happy to be a part of this project. It's again, this is such a unique moment. We're in that gap between a world that used to work, go out and get a good job, get the benefits, and work hard, and you're going to be okay. That's behind us. That's no longer working, as has become self-evident by most, into a world where technology, knowledge, and projects like these are here to help us through these rough waters. Um, Again, everything's evolving, everything's changing quickly. Jeremy and I put our podcast together. It was originally Jeremy's Think Rich Radio podcast. If you're not already following us on YouTube, please do. We talk about these things every day. So far, we've done 16 episodes to date. And then myself with my other two buddies, Davy Jones and Brandon Hobgood, we're doing Delta Chain Labs and DeltaChainLabsAcademy.com. And that's a university that we built to transition folks from not knowing anything about cryptocurrencies or digital assets or artificial intelligence into having some level of basic knowledge about it. And the university is $150 a year, you guys. We're doing it super, super, super affordable to give a bunch of value to people. Now, when someone is able to transition from knowing what a hot wallet is or a cold wallet or the blockchain, if they do decide to do so, they'll learn about real world assets, how we can tokenize a physical asset, a business, or a debt. You can learn about artificial intelligence, how to build your own platform or your own website or your own commercials as you see fit. So the level of sophistication rises as you see fit. We're also bringing on instructors. Jeremy's going to be one of our instructors soon, I believe for trading. I'm not sure what else. But we're inviting professionals that are experts in their industry to either do live sessions or to do pre-recorded sessions. And they too will have questions, modules, and quizzes upon completion, so the material does stay with you. One last thing about Delta Chain Labs and DeltaChainLabsAcademy.com is that you're able to learn in the privacy of your home. Bottoms are optional at your own pace. It's an incredible opportunity, guys. So follow us there or follow us on our podcast. It'd be a pleasure to serve you.